Hey everybody, welcome back. Ready to dive into another fascinating corner of the medical world.
Absolutely. Always ready to explore.
Today, it's all about genetics. Specifically, those curious cases called trisomy disorders, right?
You got it. And we've got some intriguing insights from a recent medical text to guide us.
Perfect. So, for anyone who maybe skipped genetics class that day, you ever wonder, like, what makes us each so unique? I mean, like, why do I have this terrible eyesight?
Well, your genes hold the answers.
Right. But sometimes there are these little glitches, right, in those genes. And today we're tackling those glitches.
Yeah. Specifically, trisomy disorders, which are like, having an extra copy of a specific chromosome. And like any good plot twist, it can lead to a variety of, well, health challenges.
Okay, so three key trisomy disorders. Let's break them down. First up, Down syndrome, probably the most well-known, I think. What's the genetic lowdown here?
So it's all about chromosome 21. Individuals with Down syndrome have 3 copies instead of the typical 2.
3 copies, huh? Yeah, okay, so like an extra chromosome just kind of hanging out.
Kinda. Think of chromosomes as those, like, massive instruction manuals, Having an extra copy of one is like slipping in an extra page. Might not seem like much, but
But it can really mess things up.
exactly. It can change the instructions, impacting development in a big way.
Wow. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And speaking of those changes, our text highlighted this thing called a single palmar crease.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I got to be honest, I had no clue that was even a thing. What is that?
It's pretty fascinating. It's a single crease across the palm instead of like the usual 2 or 3, right? And it's often found in individuals with Down syndrome.
Huh.
Thought to be related to hand development way back in the womb, those extra genes on chromosome 21, they can have quite a ripple effect.
Wow, who knew? See, this is why I love these deep dives, always learning something new.
Always.
Okay, so single palmar crease, got it. What else? Anything else particularly interesting about Down syndrome?
Well, there's another interesting connection with Down syndrome that's sparking a ton of research.
Oh.
A higher risk of developing Alzheimer's disease later in life.
Oh, wow, that's a heavy one.
Yeah.
Any idea why that connection exists?
Researchers believe it might be linked to, you guessed it, that extra copy of chromosome 21. See, there's a gene on there involved in producing amyloid protein, which, that sticky stuff that builds up in the brains of people with Alzheimer's.
Oh, right.
So it's like having a messed up instruction for clearing out that protein, leading to, well, problems down the road.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's scary, but it makes sense.
It is, but there's a silver lining. This connection, it's opened up all these new avenues for Alzheimer's research, which could help everyone, not just those with Down syndrome.
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. It's like turning a negative into a positive,
Exactly.
finding the good. All right, on to the next one. What about Edwards syndrome? What's the deal with that one?
So Edwards syndrome, or trisomy 18, it's similar to Down syndrome in that it's caused by an extra chromosome. Okay. But this time, it's chromosome 18. And unfortunately, this can lead to a whole other set of health challenges, often more severe, sadly.
The text mentioned something about like clenched fists with overlapping fingers.
Yeah.
Sounds almost poetic in a way. I mean, not to make light of it, but
I get what you mean. It's understandable to find those details, well, captivating, even within a serious topic. But that characteristic hand position, it's a real hallmark of Edwards syndrome.
so what causes that?
It's related to, well, think muscle tone and development. It's like those muscles in the hands, they don't quite get the right instructions.
Obviously.
And unfortunately, Edwards syndrome can also involve complications with, well, organ development, like omphalocele, for example.
Well, omphalocele, that's a mouthful.
Right. That's where the intestines actually protrude outside the body. Or myelomeningocele,
Which is,
where the spinal cord doesn't fully close.
wow, okay, that's heavy stuff. I can see why you said it tends to be more severe.
It is. It's a tough one.
All right, well, let's move on to the final trisomy disorder we've got on the docket, Patau syndrome. What makes this one unique?
Patau syndrome, which is linked to trisomy 13, is considered the most severe of the 3. That extra chromosome 13 really disrupts development, and sadly, many infants born with this condition don't survive past their first year.
Oh, wow. That's heartbreaking.
It is.
You know what I noticed about the symptoms for Patau syndrome, though? It's like they all have a P theme.
You're right, they do. You got a good eye for patterns.
Well, it helps me remember things.
Yeah.
So there's cleft palate, polydactyly,
Which means...
which means having extra fingers or toes.
Exactly.
See, I know my stuff.
Right.
And then there's more like cutis whatever that is, and then,
Let me guess. You want me to explain those?
well, you're the expert.
Sure enough. So cutis, that's where a portion of the skin might be missing at birth.
Wow.
And then you mentioned polycystic kidney disease. That's where cysts form in the kidneys.
Oh.
And last but not least, holoprosencephaly, which affects brain formation. It's a lot to take in.
It is, but it's fascinating, don't you think? I mean, it really makes you appreciate how complex and delicate this whole genetic process is.
Absolutely. And the crazy thing is we're learning more every day. It's a field that's constantly evolving.
Well, on that note, a huge thank you to you for breaking it all down for us today. I always learn so much in these conversations.
My pleasure. Always happy to geek out about genetics.
And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of trisomy disorders. It's heavy stuff, but knowledge is power, right? Until next time, stay curious, everybody.